Ooh. Completely unplanned podcast, but it is episode 22. I'm going to be talking about Webzen Fly for Fun. So, I haven't done one in about a month. A lot of people have been asking me when I'm going to do one, and today I'm going to do two. I'm going to do one now early in the morning, and then I'm going to do one later at night. I was going to do them back to back, but it'd be 6 in the morning at that point, and I got some shit I got to take care of. So, I wanted to talk about Fly for Fun Webzen. Now, Webzen is this shitty Korean company that used to be in agriculture, so they were involved in the Korean farming market, basically. They would, work at farms. They would own farm stock, basically. I don't understand why they took up mobile games or video games in general or bought a game portal. I guess the Korean market's a little bit more different when you think about it. You got to think of the technical aspect side. I guess every business tries to take up its own stock and try something new. I guess that was one of their marketing ideas. They're like, you know what? We own this big building for agriculture. Why don't we take up video games next? It's like one of them things. But for that whole company to fucking buy this game portal and let an MMO die the way that it did for fucking years on end, I predicted in 2018 in video, I said the game has 2 years left to live and under Webzen's rule. And then in 2 years, 2020, Fly for Fun, they shut the server off. They sold the game to a company named Bora, which is, I think, it's a Chinese company or something. There is too many ownerships between that. And there's a whole bunch of bullshit between that. I could shit talk that whole company for hours, days on end. I've had fucking multiple videos posted about how fucking shitty their company is, how much they've ruined video games and MMOs alike. They are how to not run an MMO. There are 3 things you need to do to run an MMO terribly. 1, tell everyone on your forums to fuck off by locking every thread that is constructive feedback, even if it's positive. Just lock every thread. Number 2, have one moderator, fangirl, and just pull in people on a Ventrilo, private Ventrilo, to send nudes to get privileges. And then 3 is just fuck all, have a cash shop up. And, oh yeah, by the way, tickets, never respond to them. That's how they ran their business after buying the portal. And it was so fucking shameful. That's not how to run a fucking MMO at all. That really isn't. Could you imagine if, RuneScape Jagex did that? They had, if they had up a private fucking Ventrilo server, right? And they're Mod Ash, just having people come in, or Mod Warden or whatever. All the community managers oh, hey girls, send us your nudes. We'll make you player moderators, and oh, we'll give you that endgame gear for free. It's fucking really? That's what it was like. I'm being dead fucking serious. That's what it was like. Okay? And I got all my gear legitimately, too. I farmed and earned it my fucking self because I'm that good of an MMO gamer. I don't need fucking help. But the fact that these fucking people, these fucking fangirls that were I joined this fucking guild back and then when I was playing Fly for Fun my last few years. It was a guild called the White... No, it wasn't the White Knights. What the fuck was it? It was just Kingdom Hearts. It was straight up. It was just KOM. The leader was this Polish girl named Amy Lee, and she cash shop for him. She gold sold. She gold sold for money. She would sell her in-game fucking web currency to buy cash shop for real money. So she was fucking overselling and underselling people. And she was selling her gear for real money. And then using that money to go turn around and do other shit with it. So she was already breaking the rules. She was encouraging half of her fucking guild. And I got them all in fucking Photoshop. Their Facebook message posts. Trying to sell their gear on a Facebook marketplace in an in-game server. And it was fucking disgustingly hilarious when I fucking exposed half of that fucking guild. I'm just yeah, you want to call me a gold seller when I've never gold sold at all. And then here you guys are, a whole fucking list. Half of you are in the midst of it. You're selling your gear for $20, $50, $100. And it's what the fuck, dude? It's an MMO. It's hilarious. Like, that was the worst of it. That was back in, like, 2016, 2015, 14. And it had been ongoing for years prior. And it was always a big fucking issue. And it was made fucking worse when the CM of the Webzen side, Magituk, this fucking German fuck-up that should not have ever have touched the game, should never have been involved with the community, should have never have done anything remotely involved with that game. And FlyFF, when it was run by G Potato, was one of the best free MMOs that you could play. Straight up. But it was a Korean game, and it was one of those games that kind of played like WoW. It was very beautiful anime-like, and very simplistic. You know, and it's not like WoW where I have to pay a sub, too. So if you couldn't afford WoW as a kid, FlyFF or Menton or fucking anything, there was an alternative. The only other alternative to that was pick up fucking RuneScape, old school. It gets boring after a while. It does. You don't want to play fucking old school RuneScape forever. I mean, it's a good game, but like, eventually I want to pick up a 3D game and have fun with that. Not many 3D games on the market other than WoW, which, again, is one of them cartoon market type games. You know, it's one of those games and one of them MMOs that you can't pick up and find. But for a free anime MMO that was cartoonish, funny, you know, cutesy, and free, that was the best one on the market. One of the best. But Webzen ran it into a fucking hole, and I know I sound like on loop, on a repeat when I say that for 6 minutes straight, but trust me when I say, they are the worst fucking MMO company to ever exist, ever. Of all fucking time. Of all time. You could have gave it to a group of fucking monkeys, like real monkeys, from the fucking wild, and just said, yeah, no, they're hosting the servers, they're resetting it, that's it. And it probably would have ran 10 times better. I ran a campaign against the Webzen CEO, Kim Young, and his entire fucking family. And his family, for the most part, ran the company with him. I ran a campaign against that motherfucker. Worked. The guy shut the fuck up. He got pissed off at me. He fucking sent me a personal letter saying, you need to stop this, you can't boycott me. I'm like, yes, I can. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Welcome to the online world. You don't know how to fucking work this shit? You think I'm not going to complain when... Okay, right? This is true story. I launched a petition on the actual game forums before they shut down the V-Bulletin temporarily. They shut down the V-Bulletin altogether now. Now it's gone, but there is a petition thread that I'd started under the name The Mario 4356, because that's what my YouTube channel used to be. I don't know if the link still works, but if you type in Mario 4356, it loads. But that was my in-game name on that, on the forums at least. But in the game, I was just Mario 4356. But because you couldn't have the same foreign name and in-game name, which made no fucking sense. I don't know why it couldn't be both, but upon going in, I had basically specified we need to merge all the servers because they had 7 server clusters for the US. And this was before their EU Clockwork server, which was like, oh, we got a new server, guys. Everyone come on in. Fresh start, you know. And then they found a bunch of exploits, and then the server economy got fucked. But before all that, there was several clusters. There was Tanuki, Lankin, Aobat, some fucking other server. I can't remember. Momochi. I think that was about it. There was probably like 5 or 6 clusters. I can't remember on hand how many there were. It's been that fucking long. But the server clusters were like pretty much like data centers or like worlds in Final Fantasy 14. But the data centers is basically like if there's another one. So like Final Fantasy 14, if I was to compare it to FlyFF back then, a data center would be like 1 and 2 because EU was a data center, basically. But you couldn't world transfer between worlds at all. You were stuck on the one cluster you were on. So that made it problematic to play with other friends. That made it problematic to interact with other markets. You couldn't go between and play on both things unless you made a brand fucking spanking new character on that other thing. So let's say you power leveled from 1 to 20 reset, become Master Class, Master 60, go from 60 back to 120, and then progressed on to be a Hero Class. You start a new character on that one, you have to do it all over again. And going through that entire leveling process could take fucking months. That could take months of playing without any buffs, which is already insane. And I've fucking heroed out multiple characters, and it's just a joke. It's a huge grind. You think Final Fantasy Relic Weapon grinds are fucking terrible? Go look at that game's grinding system, man. They had to make, cash shop tickets to premium areas for XP rates that are higher. Because the XP rates in the game were shit. And it was just that was just another marketing tool that G-Potato came up with at the time, which was a good idea. I mean, I wouldn't mind paying more money for a special cool area with cool drops, unique, with higher XP rates, to be able to play it with friends. That's not a bad idea. The problem is the way it was marketed just did not apply too well, because if you feel like think about it. Could you imagine imagine old school RuneScape, but there is a cash shop island. Like you could go back to Tutorial Island 2.0 or something, or Tutorial Island 3, and you go there and it's actually just increased out the ass XP rates for an Iron Man or something, and it's all safe. You can't die in it. That's what it would be like. That's just fucking insanity. But FlyFF in general was just a huge fuck up and a half, especially when Magitok went in and said that he'd claimed that he was a community manager only and had no access to the GM account. He did have access to the GM account because he used it to create gear for Mod Sherry, which I have. I had open DMs with her at one point, and also a photo of what she looks like. She was a player moderator for RuneScape. She got gear that basically gave her, like, I don't know, 10 million more health than the average player. Which, you know, the average player could get upward to maybe, like, 30, 60k health at max level, maybe 100. Maybe a couple 100k with the BP build or whatever, and they're just fucking maxing out their shit. Some players have got upward to about 1 million, but they spend hundreds of dollars on the cash shop. You know, that's sad. They dump their whole paychecks into that fucking game. That's how fucking sad that is, just for the PvP aspect. And the PvP in the game is shit. I still see people putting up PvP Siege videos. The fucking arena is a circle which you can speed sprint around and fucking assail people. Assail is the BP move for just shooting a strong one-shot conal that fucks everything up in your front. And honestly, it's a shitty fucking PvP aspect, especially when you're super jumping around at fucking max sprint speed, and it's just silly. At that point, it's like playing Halo 3, but like every armor ability on, or Halo 4 with every armor ability. It's not interesting. The game was never designed with PvP in mind. That's true facts right there, by the way. Yet the worst part was this player moderator, Mod Sherry, when she sold her gear, she sold it to go to RuneFest. She sold it for a fucking total of $1,000 US. How the fuck do you sell a game for sell your in-game items that you basically sexualized yourself to somebody who works in the company that has access to a GM account to just sell it all off to go to a different game's fucking festival? Like, that's scummy, don't you think? If I was a player moderator on RuneScape and I had the trust of another MMO to be able to be given gear like that, I wouldn't sell that gear to go there. I would fucking just go there. I'd raise some money and go there. I wouldn't fucking sell my in-game gear and basically spit on the trust of everyone I, held dear to. But, honestly, she also used macros, so it doesn't make much of a difference. Macro use in that game is bannable, but people do it anyway. The mods do it anyway. It's fucking pathetic when the moderators can't even follow their own fucking rules in their own games, right? So I was going to be joined by BDX for this, but if you look down below in my description, down here somewhere, I don't know where the fuck it's at. Oh, I didn't even write it. I thought I threw that link in. I didn't. I'll add it after the podcast. It's whatever. There was a video clip that I had taken of a failure of an event after Sherry had fucking sold her gear off. It was months later. One day, Magituk decided to go to the, I guess, a company meeting or something, and this is what got him fucking fired ultimately. Quote unquote, he quit. No. You don't just become an XCM and then just fucking announce, yeah, by the way, I'm stepping down and quitting. No, he got fucking fired for this. This is how dumb this motherfucker was. So he put up an event. He went to a company meeting. And when he got back, he figured as a community manager, he would put his name on 2 super endgame boss mobs. Now, these boss mobs are like 10 million HP each. They auto-recover from even endgame players. So these things he wanted to spawn in the overworld. Now, we also have these cutesy mob events where there'll be like a level 15 mobs scattered all over the fucking world. And some of them might be level 1, some of them might be level 15. And they're event tagged. Event tag meaning you do 1 damage to them, they do 1 damage to you. So you basically run up to it and smack its day for about 15 seconds for free loot. It's like a piñata, basically. A cute little piñata that drops a shit ton of loot that you would farm. Those events were kind of okay. It's not for XP, it's not for anything, it was for money. And it was just like a quick, okay, run up and punch this balloon for money, basically. That's what the event was kind of like. But here's where it fucked up. Imagine putting that event tag, on a super boss mob with 10 million HP that can auto-recover. You see where that's going? You can't, it's like attacking a fucking 10 million HP bar, only doing like 1 damage to it. 1 damage back, 1 damage forward. And it's auto-recovering. You can never kill it. Even if 1 million players were attacking one all at once, it couldn't die. Because it would auto-recover. It had auto-recovery, and it had 10 million HP. And the CM's name was all over it. It was called like a Magituk Works or something. There was 2 types of them. There was a super one that's like double the fucking size of the other one, and then just a regular. And no one knows what their drop table was because he fucked the event up. Then he goes on the forums days later. He's like, oh shit, I fucked up, guys. Anyone caught luring or moving these to, to the towns? Because the way the event tag worked, it spawned them all over the world and all around the towns. With the fact that it's a super boss mob, normally you couldn't bring mobs into the town. But because Super Boss is its own class in that game, it didn't matter. So you could just bring the bosses into the fucking towns. And because they're ranged tactician too, they could shoot fucking laser beams and bombs at people. They can kill you from the edge of town. So imagine a new player. Imagine starting up RuneScape for the first time. Old school RuneScape. Imagine starting that up. And then suddenly you're in Lumberridge, you're thinking, okay, let me get a quick bronze sword or whatever, and maybe a wood shield, get started, go kill some goblins. Before you even leave Lumberridge Castle, like the grounds, a fucking PKer comes over. It's not the wild, but he's able to kill you. Like it's Dorial all over again, like the fucking PK Falador event. Like he just straight up comes in with a dragon scimitar and fucks your shit in. That was basically the equivalent. Because you couldn't get out of spawn. Every new player would die instantly, would not be able to leave spawn. Because the trolls were constantly bringing over... I was doing it too, because I thought it was fucking hilarious that it was this much of a fuck up. And the worst part is, after level 15, you start to lose XP. So imagine playing the game, getting to level 15, 16, and then you play a little bit more, you get to about level 22, and then you go AFK. And it takes a while to get levels in that game. To get from level 1 to 40 could take the average player like at least 12 hours of playing. At least with no XP event, no items, no nothing. And then that's half a day, so that's 2 days wasted trying to level up. Maybe, you know what? I'll go next, I'd say 20 hours. 20 hours. That's 12 hours if you're AoE farming every single fucking mob for the maximum amount of XP rate with an RM on the side, Ringmaster being a healer with buffs. that would be the side thing. That would be the fastest rate, but I would say 20 hours. So imagine getting to level 40 and then going AFK in town and then coming back from work or something, right? And then you come back from work to find out these super boss mobs, there's several of them shooting fucking lasers down on you and you're dying repeatedly. And then turns out you're back at level 15. Oh, and by the way, you don't get your XP back. That would fucking suck. That's like getting the 99 in RuneScape and then being reset to 1. That's like, what the fuck? That's like a huge slap in the face for all your efforts. What Magic said on the forums was like, if anyone caught luring them, you're getting banned. He didn't ban anyone. I don't think he did. He was just making that as a warning so people didn't do it. Obviously, the trolls are going to fucking do it because it was fucking hilarious. I thought it was hilarious and I did it. And I didn't get banned either. I didn't get banned for that. I got banned for, quote-unquote, hating on the company. I have full fucking right to hate on a company that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And that's why you guys have lost the fucking ownership of the game. So you gonna get upset that I'm talking shit about your game? Actually fix your fucking game. It's your game. If you don't know how to fix it, sell it. It's really that simple. I like the game for the game. I don't like the company running the game. The publisher. Yeah, it's one of those fucking situations where that game should never have been run by that company. There's plenty of fucking reasoning why. Plenty. And it's not just those certain 2 bits of information either. There is a huge fucking bit that really pisses me off about Magic more than anything. My friend BDX, who joined me for that Clockworks event, and I have it on video of it actually happening. If anyone is curious, again, I will link it down below. It was me and him talking. He was playing around with the shape butt animation or something. Shake butt, right? There was a shake butt animation in that game. I don't know why a children's anime game, anime MMO, needs a shake butt option, but apparently it needed it. I don't know. Something very creepy about the fact that it was in the game, but I think it was to mock people because there's a lot of audio tracks in that game that didn't make the release, but it's in the game files. A lot of the audio in the game is very nice. The ones that didn't get used anyway. The funny part is the unused music isn't copyrighted, so if I wanted to, I could play it over my own podcast for this whole thing. It would have been fucking hilarious. So I could have just used it completely for free because they didn't even moderate the music that they were supposed to. Webzen didn't even get the copyrights for the music, the unreleased music that is actually in the game files. So they don't even own it. I mean, they didn't own it at the time, and they still don't own it because they don't own the game anymore. But Bora doesn't even own it, which is the current owner. That's just double the fucking hilariousness. But excuse me. The fact that the company Bora took over the game in fucking, I think it was like August 20th, or no, August 2020, or September 2020. The fact that they took it over, I saw people complaining that they didn't like it, and some people went to a private server, and I ran into old pals that I used to talk to on that private server. They were doing this thing where they were going to try to run FlyFF, a client game on Google Chrome, which I thought was fucking beyond impressive. That is beyond impressive. I don't know how well it plays on Google Chrome because I haven't tried the beta for it, but I was offered to test it, and I don't want to fucking do it. I don't want to go back to the game. I don't want to see that game because I've played the ever-living shit out of it for literally almost 10, 15 years. Well, I think 12, 13 years, about that. And I gave it up, and then I went back to it, and then gave it up and went back to it, even after I announced my quitting, and it's just like one of those games that's like, you increase the level cap, but, you know, I still got this much more stronger every other fucking time. What also made absolutely no fucking sense at all, and this is what broke my fucking brain when Webzen did this. They took the first starting area of the game, Mars Mine, which is supposed to be this level 15 to 30 dungeon, At the end, there's a level 31 super boss mob, and it doesn't really drop a whole lot. So they claim to have improved it, but instead what they did was, because of the fact that it's at the end of the starting island, which is basically like the tutorial island, they took that dungeon, which is the only dungeon I think they fucking know exists, and they basically said, okay, we're going to change all the levels of the mobs in there, change the mobs themselves, we're going to make them all hero class. We're going to make them level 120, level 150, level 145, 135, increase their drop rates. Well, that's fucking creepy. I didn't even know that was dropping. I didn't even know that dropped. But the drop rate was insane there. It was just fucking stupid. And I didn't understand the concept. I feel like that was the only area that they knew existed in the game. And for whatever reason, they felt that that dungeon needed to be nerfed to 150. And I think any free player at any level can walk in there and they'll instantly die upon going in there. That's hilarious. Like, why would you go out of your fucking way to nerf the beginning dungeon, which was a good leveling area for people that were like 20 trying to level up? Why would you need to nerf that area? It didn't need to be nerfed to fucking, 90 levels higher. Because how the fuck is the regular player going through the game, going north, and as they're going north, the enemies go from level 3 to 5, 10, 7, so forth, 15, 11, 12, 19, and so forth. And it just keeps increasing as they go. With some low levels to the side from every other level, obviously, but when you get to the end of it, you go through the dungeon. Oh, it's a dungeon. Oh, great. I'm level 15, 20. I can go through that dungeon. I can start fighting. I can start leveling up and getting even more XP in the dungeon because dungeon XP is better. So let me go in there and go get that. And then you go in there and it's fucking level 150s. And they fucking kick your shit in and you D-level. Congratulations, you just fucked up an MMO. Like that... Clearly, they didn't fucking understand shit. Piccolo was the one who apparently was authorized to ban me. Their fucking GM. That guy's a fucking lazy piece of shit. A lazy fucking retarded, overaged German that's like 60-some years old. This fucking guy who's balding and doesn't even know coding. He claims to know coding, and you know what he does? He pulls up the fucking command list as a GM and spawns in a bunch of creatures. That's what he calls coding. That's not coding. That's following the fucking in-game procedure. That's following in-game commands. That's not coding. That's like opening up a Minecraft server and doing /give. Or give me a command block and let me play with commands. That's not coding, dude. Do you fucking know what coding is? That's like hardcore building a website, building a program, actually doing something. Like an actual coder. Holy shit. That's impressive. Like big brain fucking facts, right? Like, I don't understand the fucking concept to, why they feel as though that was like, coding. Because it wasn't. I can tell you what coding looks like. All I have to do is call up my friend BDX and say, hey, look, show me your game that you're making on GameMaker. No, he's not even using GameMaker anymore. He's using a completely different engine. And he's writing out all of it in code, how to load up certain objects, how to load up the lighting, how to load up the shading, how to load up movement, character polygons, like a bunch of shit. Sound, music, all of it. That's coding. That's making a whole fucking game from scratch. What that guy knows is jack shit. And I'm not mad that he banned me. I'm finding it fucking hilarious for their ban reason for banning me. Because originally, I got banned by Magituk for trolling him. For trolling. And then what I did was I took an image of a cake. And I got the reason for my ban was trolling. And I put it inside of a cake. Be like, you mad, bro? He got really mad at that. But that petition thread, let me go back to that. Before Magituk had his whole fangirl team of Nyoko, which huge piece of shit. She doesn't need to fucking be in the community. He or she, I don't fucking care what they do. They don't need to be in the community, and they were in the fucking Ventrilos at the time that Sherry was there. Basically thought. She was a basic bitch thought that got all of her shit for free and played the game in secret on her alt and probably sold her gear just as fucking quick as Sherry did. I wouldn't be fucking surprised. But her account as a super account no longer exists, which is great because she didn't need to fucking exist prior. Where was I going to go for the rest of that? So the petition, before they were even a fucking thing, I had 380 some petition signatures on the forums itself. So the forums itself gave me, all these people came up and they were like, yeah, we want to merge these server clusters. So I'm going back with the server clusters. I was on Lankin, which originally was the US Clockwork server, which in the game engine file, there was originally only one server, and they broke it down into clusters. Mine was Clockworks, which then later on renamed, got merged with another server, and became Lankin. But prior to all that, in the game's actual engine, the game is literally called Clockworks. Before it was called FlyFF, it was literally just called Clockworks. Clockworks the game. I don't know. That was just with the original game name when they were coming up with it. They would just load up Clockworks and edit the data and make the game. But in that one instance of the petition, I was threatened by Magitook to shut down the petition. The petition was to merge all those servers because people were dropping left and right. The population was dropping. No one was buying the equivalent of guild houses because nobody could afford them. I could afford them very easily. I could afford any size, any bit of furniture, any of the cash shop items, but I didn't want to because it wasn't worth it. You also needed to have a certain amount of guild members active. And obviously, playing an MMO that's silent and Korean type, I didn't have many fucking friends to play it with. So, being rich as shit with no friends obviously means I don't get anything. Hey, what's up? If you Columbus, Ohio, that'd be nice so I can meet you and talk with you. Yeah, I'm going up there for I have a hotel that's slightly up north, I think the Banquet Center, and I'm going to be heading up an hour and 10 minutes north and an hour and 10 minutes south to Chillicothe. But I wanted to finish up this podcast since I got like another 20 minutes to talk about this. This petition, in general, the fact that the community manager had to approach me in private, and he literally word for word told me, he's like, dude, you need to shut off this petition thread. It's catching the eyes of too many of my bosses. They do not like it. They want it off. You need to delete your thread. If you don't, I'm going to ban you. It's word for word what this fucker said to me. Now, that pissed me off that the community manager had to come to me for that, because he refused to listen to any of the complaints. What he was doing was having one other moderator and himself lock every thread that ever suggested a server merge. He would have everyone lock threads of any constructive feedback, like, hey, can we get updated lighting, or it could be get different cash shop items that would allow for different hairstyles. Eventually, after like 2 pages, every single time they would lock a thread. They wouldn't let you continue their conversation. You couldn't talk about it. You couldn't give your experience. I've seen posts that only get one single post, their opening post, and then get locked. Oh, we're locking this thread. We're not going to talk about it. This has already been discussed. But no link to the discussion. No link to anywhere. Their fucking moderators were fucking huge assholes. And they were fucking dumb as shit because they used a V bulletin board and eventually got spammed every day when they shut down, I think it was C9 or something. They shut down one of their games. And that forum got berated with fucking spam. Berated. There was no filter. They were using an old V bulletin board system, but it is easily raidable. Now, I've had a V bulletin server up before, and I've seen bots raid them. They're very easy to... It's very easy to attack your own server. Attack your own forum board. There's programs that literally spam forum boards that you could do and make in 5 minutes. It's embarrassing. And you just have to... The only complicated thing to making a program like that, you have to send the bot to make an account through like a Russian email and then have it send a sign-up form and then just get the email back, make the account, let the bot make the account and go into it. And it's a lot of programming language though, but the only complicated part is the communicating to a email server and getting through it. But it would require security checks and all that stuff, and I've written stuff like that before. But let me go back to this. I'm getting off topic. They threatened to fucking shut off my account on Webzen, the whole FlyFF, the whole game, if I didn't delete that thread. And I deleted that thread, and I told Magic to go fuck himself. Now, that thread got deleted. It got locked by Magic, and then I deleted it, and then I had to explain to him. I called him a fucking piece of shit. I said his whole company's a piece of shit. I said Kim Young and the CEO are complete pieces of shit, and they shouldn't be afraid of the community wanting to grow. They want to. I told him, like, look, we want to all play together. If you're not going to let us play together, you're going to let your game die. And lo and behold, years fucking later, long after I'm gone, they merged the servers together, but it's fucking too late. Too fucking late. They merged it all together in like fucking 2019 or 2020. It was years late. It was 5 years late. The games were dead. Every server you would go on that would have like 5 or 6 people. I took snapshots of how their basic equivalent of a Grand Exchange, which should have never existed with Webzen, it looked like. And it looked like a pile of fucking dog shit. And there would only be like 5 or 6 people in there. On each one. And it was like, at max, maybe 30 people altogether. That's sad. At 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning for a Korean game? A Korean MMO game? You would think there'd be like, I don't know, fucking anywhere from a couple hundred people a cluster. Not even that. It was fucking less than that. It should have been that short of a population. If they had just merged all the fucking servers together and they were claiming, oh, well, it's more complicated than that. I'm like, how the fuck is it complicated? You're just taking files and moving them to one. Like, big brain. It's not that difficult. They're like, well, what about people with duplicate names and stuff? Like, okay, so when you make an account, your account gets a special number, an ID. Just like any fucking data center or any fucking SQL server. So your account that you make is numbered. Any account or any other character that you get making on that account, which you get 3 character slots in that game, they're all unique to you. So people with the same name, they would just have to forcibly rename or delete the character. It's not that difficult. They should just force name change everyone upon login for each of their characters, and that would solve that problem right away. And any issue that they had with their rename, easily give them a rename scroll. Issue everyone a soul-linked rename scroll, and you're good. Just name every character unnamed, so when they boot into the server and they don't have a name, they have to set themselves a name before they can actually go play again. Give them the soul link scroll, let them fucking rename themselves, and you're good to go. Or have it prompt before they can log in. I don't see how that's difficult to write. I really didn't understand that. That should have taken someone at most an hour to figure out. Not that long. I mean, it took them fucking 5 years to do that. But they probably decided it all in one fucking week. They were like, you know what? Let's look at how the economy would react from all 5 clusters, and let's write the data. I don't understand why it took them 5 fucking years to finally do that. Long after I'm gone and quit. And then when it's all said and done, literally within the span of half a year, they shut the game down. Probably because they knew they fucking killed their game by being inactive about it. They never respond to tickets. They claim they do. They don't. Everything is very improper. Everything is not done right in that fucking game. The CEO of Kim Young can literally suck my left and right nut, and I'm going to tell him that right now. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but dude, you can suck my fucking dick. Like, seriously, you've fucking run a nice MMO into the ground. A decent game into the ground. That's like, imagine if you took RuneScape or Final Fantasy XIV or, like, fucking Legend of Zelda series or Mario or something, and then the creator turned around and then makes a sequel to it that is absolutely garbage or does something that is completely detrimental. That's like a huge what the fucking slap in the face to the whole community that loves the thing. Imagine it like that, right? Like, imagine the next Mario game has no platforms. Oh, and it's just a straight line that's barren and gray and depressing. Imagine if Mario Odyssey 2 is just all black and white. It's not 3D. It's 2D. And there's no platforms, no enemies. There's a power-up block, and you just run to the end in a straight line. And that's a huge slap in the face to gaming, I would think. That is the equivalent of the fuckery that was Webzen. The fucking complete mockery that they were. And every single week that you go on their website, you're like, oh, cash shop sale. It's not a sale if it's the fucking same every week. It really ain't. That was their major cash cow, was these fucking yuppies from all over the world buying their in-game gear from a cash shop to improve their gear. Which, this makes me sick too. Weapon upgrading in that game. You can get up to about level 3, but if you upgrade beyond that, you risk breaking the weapon, and the weapon deletes. So you need S-Protects. S-Protects will let you get from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think up to about level plus 20. And upon reaching plus 20 with a bunch of other weapons and elements, would make the weapon glow, give it a lot more fucking power, obviously. But the S-Protect scrolls were like, to get a bundle of 99, or no, so a bundle of 50 was like $20. $20, or like $50 or something. They were like $1 a scroll. Oh, and as you progressed, the rate of success for the upgrade was much, much shorter. I think at level plus 7, it would take like 30 to 20 scrolls, if you were lucky. 50. So basically $20, $30 whole dollars to upgrade it just once by a couple of points. And there were people that were spending thousands upon thousands of dollars. Thousands. To get broken gear. For an MMO that is underplayed. Now, I made all my in-game money and like in-game penya, and I basically, what I would do is I would give them penya to go buy from the cash shop for me, because I'm not paying, real fucking money in this game. They buy the shit from the cash shop for me. They get a shit ton of in-game currency, and then we're good to go. And then what they do is they take that currency, they break it into Purin, which is like 100 mil a Purin currency, like 100 mil a coin. So it's basically currency conversion into a separate coin. And then they would hold that, and then they would gold sell that for more money. So at the same time, while I'm buying items from the cash shop with money that I farmed in the game, because they limit it to such a way to where you couldn't use in-game currency to get S-Protect scrolls. You couldn't get certain amounts. You had to pay with real money. The fact that I used that instead was a big thing. That's one of my issues that I currently have with Final Fantasy XIV as an MMO. They have their MOG station. You have to pay real money, but you could buy it in Krista. But I feel like Krista should be a currency that you could earn through Gil in the game, if you know what I mean. Like, WoW has WoW tokens to buy your WoW sub back. If you make enough money and farm enough money by playing WoW actively, you could buy a WoW coin that gives you a whole month sub back. That's one thing I like about WoW. But not many MMO games do that. RuneScape started doing that with bonds. When bonds started being a thing, you could use 1 bond or 2 bonds to get like 14 days of free sub. That was a unique thing. If you made money and you were active in the game and you were smart of how you were doing things, you could go out and buy a bond. I think a bond right now on RuneScape 3 is like fucking 25 mil or something. So for a 14-day sub to the PvP area, or not the PvP, the pay-to-play area, because there's a free-to-play and a pay-to-play. You could make all that money in free-to-play. It'll just take fucking long as shit. I don't remember the current fastest money-making method for money in free-to-play on RuneScape 3, but if I'm not mistaken, it's still ore mining, because everyone needs ore. You can't really do wood cutting or fishing or, realistically anything, because smithing is dead, especially since the mining update and the smithing rework. So And again, that's another thing with that MMO. I could talk days about that MMO and how to make money in that game, but like again, going back on Fly for Fun, that game has been a fucking travesty. It's a stain on MMO history. They actually paid off a what the fuck is it? They paid off and put themselves in an MMO contest for like the best MMO of the year or whatever, and they lied about what they were rewarding players if they signed that. They didn't give out players the items that they were supposed to get, and they also were paying the company, this little fucking random website that was doing MMO rewards. They paid them cash to put them in the top 3. So they bought their way into an awards ceremony. That's just fucking stupid. I'm sorry. That's fucking pathetic, man. That really... How can you be that fucking sad of a company that you couldn't be approached to be the best MMO company? That you had to buy it out? I mean, really. If Webzen was smart, in its first year, this is what it should have done. So originally, G-Potato, they had cash shop cards, like actual gift cards that you could buy from like a Walmart in the US. What they should have done was the same fucking thing. But Webzen never had cards in the US. That made no sense. They should have shipped out cards to Walmarts, Targets all over the US, all over Europe, all over Japan, everywhere. Try to spread them out as much as they could in their own individual languages and try to push their in-game currency. And also try to push these premium cash shop areas. Include tickets with your Webzen coin purchase to the premium cash shop areas. To like go out and get more XP, extra scrolls, this, that, and everything. Offer them in cards all around the US, all around there, within the first few months. You would have had players up the ass, increased player count and everything, have hired in an active GM team and an active actual form moderator, not these fucking, prostitutes that fucking Magituk picked up, basically. Have real moderators in your game for the first year. I can tell you right now, the fucking 3 slobs you hired off the street, I think it was Piccolo and 2 other fucking stupid people that never fucking said anything, and took up the Dutch form for like 2 weeks, 2 months at a time. You need to pick up real fucking people. Okay? It's really simple. Hire a group of 3 people that want to take care of the fucking game, and then there you go. You have your game. You don't even have to pay them that much either. Just have to pay them to go on the forums and moderate. It shouldn't be that difficult to teach, train, and tell someone how to do their job. If you're hiring for them for that position, let them do that position. And if you don't get volunteer mods, which they do have volunteer mods, I think the volunteer mods do more fucking work than the actual fucking mods, which is pathetically sad. There's one forum volunteer that has been on there for so fucking long, even after the forums was gone. I think it's the guy named Ameno, if I'm not mistaken. He has been the only decent forum moderator in that whole game's history. And he's just some random fucking dude. Just like me. And he has private opinions about the company that are almost fucking identical to mine. That he doesn't fucking say because he wants to keep his forum moderator status. Which is just fucking sad because obviously a forum moderator telling them that the company is fucking dog shit sends a huge fucking message back to the company and makes them look shit, doesn't it? But they cared about their image enough to ban me for it. So as soon as they banned me for it, what I ended up doing, I had all my money from playing that game for like 11, 15, 13 fucking years, like I said. Before Webzen bought out G-Potato, during G-Potato's lifetime, I was using proxies on my alt accounts. So whenever I traded the in-game currency, which was Pena, to alt accounts, from one alt to another, to the main, the main mule, what I did was I would send all my money to that mule because there's never enough bank space to hold all my fucking in-game currency. I would just have stacks of Purin that would just build up and I didn't have any place to put it. So I had 15 trillion stashed on like fucking 2-3 different accounts all together, all loaded to the fucking brim, all with their own unique guild, their guild safe bank, which you had to find 3 people, recruit them together, and just fill the bank. And I had 3 separate guild banks. So I had to have 9 characters all like party up, sign up for this fucking, the equivalent of a guild, pay money into the guild, and then fill it up with more money. So I had basically accounts that were stacked to the brim just with 15 trillion in-game currency. And what I ended up doing was, when I got banned, I got on the proxy, went to that account, because they IP banned every account associated to me, but they didn't ban the main mule. So I went to the mule on my proxy, and I sold out all my gil, or not gil, but Pena, sorry. Been playing too much Final Fantasy. But when I sold all that out, I made fucking like $10,000 US dollars. A little over that. I made it around 11, maybe 13 or something. I can't fucking remember how much it was, but I got it taxed because it was through, I was sending most of it actually to, what the fuck was it? I sent some of it to Able Gamers, I believe. And it was so fucking long ago that I can't even remember what the hell I did. But the moment I did that, their fucking stock exchange, Webzen's actual physical stock exchange, plummeted straight the fuck down. Because 15 trillion in-game currency is like owning an entire fucking market. That's like owning I really did own that entire fucking cluster. So I took all the money out of the market and I gave it to some random motherfucker. And he's selling that gold back in small amounts. Because they would sell it by like 10 mil at a time. I had 15 trillion. That's not a bill. That's not a mil. That's not a bill. It's a fucking trillion. That's high up there. That would take them forever to sell. They're not going to fucking sell that ever. They bought it out because they thought that the game was very popular or would have a good popularity rate. And their bots didn't like farming I keep calling it Gil. They didn't like farming Pena in that game. Because to AFK farm was very slow. Now, I know how to AFK farm, and it is fucking slow, I can agree. But I did it for so long, and I've figured out ways to run alt accounts to make the most efficient amount of money possible. That, with, counting my electric bill, too. I found a way to efficiently do it for so long that it didn't even fucking matter. And to get all that money back and to see their physical stock exchange plummet for fucking years from, I think it was 2016, 17, going completely down. And I watched it every other fucking 6 months. I would pull it up and I would just laugh at it. There was 1 month in fucking, I think it was 2017, I think November, where they went a slight bit up, but then went straight back down. Because when they started up, they were about up here somewhere. And they were going just like static down, and basically like that. It was just a shithole. When you play an MMO enough, okay, look at me, okay. When I'm able to play an MMO for 10, 15 years, and I'm able to fuck up the actual publisher stock exchange from quitting. That's fucking gold right there. I don't know. I'm fucking proud of myself. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like a fucked up thing to do, that I cash shopped out, but they preemptively banned me with no warning, no nothing. So I had all rights. I mean, I made the gil. They're right, but I keep calling it gil. I made the money, but like, I get it that every virtual currency or whatever, every account is owned technically by them first. But you gotta remember, I put the time and money into playing that, and I was preemptively banned with no reason, no warning, no nothing. I think I have every right to do what I want at that point. That would be like if a cop walked to your house, walked up to your driveway, and took your car for no reason. Oh, because it's public property. Oh, because the bank owns your house currently for like 1 day. So we're gonna just take your whole car. At that point, I think I do whatever the fuck I want. I mean, if they're gonna fucking take my shit from me, I'm gonna fucking sell my shit and fuck their shit up. I mean, it's an eye for an eye at that point. You're gonna ban one of my main accounts that I had fun with. So I'm gonna take my mule and I'm gonna fucking crash your actual stock market. Now, prior to that, I did tell them in private, I'm like, look, I said me and the Big Seven, which there was like several of us, that the Big Seven being like the Yu Hakusho equivalent of the fucking rich people, the Black Club. We were like the richest fucking people on the server. And what we were asking them as the richest ones, we were saying, hey, look, since we own the entire game economy right now, we would like it if you made us moderators so we can get rid of the fucking people in the server that are spam botting cash shops. Which they've allowed it for fucking years. I'm not surprised if they were involved with it either. But they immediately turned us down. They said, look, we're not going to fucking do that because we feel like that you guys would trash our game. I'm like, look, we have the power to already trash your game. We don't want to. We love this game. So make us moderators so we can moderate it and play it and try to fucking get people to come together and hopefully convince you fucking idiots that we can merge the servers together. That is word for word what we said to them. And they just fucking denied us again and said, no, we have no business doing this because it's not a good profitable move. I'm like, how is this not a good profitable move if it brings people in? If it brings you new customers, how is that a horrible thing? Again, it was just one of those things that was a huge mindfuck. Why an agriculture company takes up a video game. Never go outside your reaches of your knowledge if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Or if you refuse to hire people on that have better knowledge than you. That's what it came the fuck down to. What they should have hired was someone who came from another video game company or an MMO company. Like, pick up like a fucking former mod for RuneScape or Menton or fucking MapleStory or EverQuest. Anything. I don't know what fucking MMO you'd go by, but pick up anything. Anyone. Don't just go from fucking selling celery and shit, you know, and tomatoes to fucking, oh, let's buy a video game portal and make some quick mobile money because we're so fucking intelligent. No. And they don't own Fly for Fun anymore. They still own the original G-Potato game portal. But most of the games on that portal are not played in the U.S. They're not popular with the U.S. I don't even think they're popular with Europe. And if they are, they're probably dead too. I could see them in another 3 years being forced to sell off that whole game portal. Probably less. I'm for calling that now. By 2024, they're... Oh my god, that's fucking crazy. I can't believe I said that out loud. 2024. Holy fucking shit. We're that fucking close to that. Fucking rocket cars and shit. What we were supposed to get by 2030? Rocket cars and shit? We're going to be flying around? No. Not yet. But anyway, as I'm fucking saying, the in-game economy for that whole game for 10 years, 11 years, 13 years was all mostly moderated by me, the richest man in that game. And I quit out that game after they denied their fucking community. And it's not that I wanted to fucking sell that out. Because, you know, I donated half of it to I donated half of it to fucking charity. So what was the fucking point? And I don't remember, it might have been Able Gamers, it might have been some other fucking company. I can't remember, it's been that fucking long. But how can you let your own players down? Your own customers, basically. How can you let them down? 2024, Webzen will sell their entire game portal, and Kim Young will fuck himself in the head. And you'll go back to taking up agriculture, and then the company will probably be dead by 2026. I'm calling it. I would say 2026 of October. '26 of October, Webzen will no longer own their corporate building that is currently in fucking somewhere in Korea. I don't remember where. But they'll be shut down completely. They won't have any money left. They'll take up agriculture and probably get a smaller building. Because right now they own a pretty big building, but they don't need to own that building. Owning a building of that size while committing to a bank and leasing it out for more money than they actually have, they're not making a whole lot to begin with to even pay off the banks and whatnot, and that's kind of fucking pathetic. So, that gives you an idea of how bad their company is run. And I could shit talk Webzen 24 hours a day, 7 hours of the week. It's not going to fucking change a difference. Their game is a pile of shit. And I've always advertised it for 3 to 4, 5, fucking 6 years. I've always said, after I quit and it was gone, I said, don't play Fly for Fun under Webzen. Go to a private server. People eventually listened. And then they sold off their game portal because they didn't want to fucking... They don't want to fucking play with people. People do not want to fucking deal with the petty shit that Magitook and Webzen did. You don't do that to a fucking MMO. That is like selling your product and then having some asshole prostitute out in a prostitution ring. Don't do it. That is the end of my podcast. I'm sorry I ranted for about an hour about Webzen and a few other things off to the side about RuneScape and all this. But as an MMO player, for someone who's played those games for many and many a year and has a heart for it, it fucking saddens me greatly to see a decent game like Fly for Fun go to shit. Because I loved that game. Loved being the word. But, I tried to recreate it. I tried to make a private server. I tried to make a whole game. And I just gave up after it. Because after seeing the community dwindle and dwindle, I just said, you know what? Let some other person pick this up. I don't want to fucking remake this game. Because that's how much I love that game. Because I feel like they could have turned that game, actually worked on the story of that game, the quests, making quests actually viable for XP and money. It would have been a great fucking game. Unfortunately, it's too late, dead and gone. And the game devs, the publishers being the first responsible, not the game devs, because the publishers have to pay the devs to do any of the work on it. And Webzen didn't want to pay them. They were just cash shopping their game because the devs sold out to them. And ultimately, the devs screwed themselves by picking a really shitty company. And I'm pretty sure Aeon Software, I think Gala, regretted the decision of selling to them somewhere deep down because I think they knew that they were a shitty company to begin with. And I think they tried to push themselves to a new publisher. I think that's what happened. I don't think they were getting paid enough to be shitting on their own game when you think about it. But again, that's all I wanted to talk about. I have another podcast coming tonight when I get home. This is Maris Memes. I have podcast 23. Ignore my stomach. I didn't really eat yet. Podcast 23 is going to be about how a 13 and 15-year-old girl, which at first I assumed black, was actually black, killed a 66-year-old man trying to do a hijack burglary, and they were armed. Trying to steal his car. This is America. Let that fucking sink in. Oh, and they pled not guilty in a plea bargain. Why is the death sentence not a thing anymore? I don't know. Let's find out later today. Good night, everyone. Well, good morning.